smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you...
Welcome, beautiful people. Today we're whisking you into the sullen, demonic world of Silent Hill. This game has had a huge impact on the horror genre. It went a step further than the rest and carved its way into the human psyche, exploring themes of inner demons with a disturbingly great narrative. Silent Hill has held the title of the scariest game ever made for many years. With the new Silent Hill 2 remake out and a wave of new reviews and gameplay videos following, we're here to dig into what makes this spooky town so special. The game's creepy setting and terrifying monsters like Pyramid Head left a huge impact, inspiring movies and other games in the series. Despite the changing characters and stories, the town itself remains a constant, a foggy, haunted place every character has to face. But before we begin, if you like our content, please support us by subscribing. It's a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Let's jump in. Silent Hill, an intro. Silent Hill first came out as a survival horror game for PlayStation back in 1999, going head-to-head with Resident Evil and becoming one of the top horror games ever. The story follows Harry Mason as he searches for his missing daughter Cheryl in the eerie and mysterious town of Silent Hill, a journey that's both terrifying and emotional. Then, in 2001, Silent Hill 2 was released, taking players back to another creepy part of the town. This time, the story focuses on James Sunderland, who gets a letter from his dead wife, Mary, and goes back to Silent Hill looking for her. Silent Hill 2 had psych horror themes and was widely hailed as the best video game of the Konami series. The upcoming movie adaptation is actually based on Silent Hill 2, and it was announced earlier this year. Christoph Gans, who directed the first Silent Hill movie in 2006, will be directing this one too. Silent Hill was made as an anthology, so most plots do not have the same characters or even related stories. The town of Silent Hill and its peculiar affairs is what binds the franchise together. The mystery of Silent Hill made many fans curious to know more about the real-life town that inspired the popular anthology. And there is indeed a real town with a gruesome story that inspired Silent Hill's whole look. And we'll tell you about it later in the video. But first, let's take a stroll through the haunt of Silent Hill itself. What is Silent Hill? Silent Hill may pose some enigma for those who never got into the video games back in the day. What exactly is this old town? And why are these strange incidents taking place in there ever so often? Silent Hill is a town blessed with gorgeous natural surroundings, which is why it was turned into a tourist spot. But under the cloak of fog it's perpetually submerged in, Silent Hill nurtures a supernatural presence. Silent Hill is a town near Toluca Lake, which is responsible for flooding it with all that fog. It's nestled between hills, woods, and a river. Pretty picturesque. Silent Hill appears to be located up in Maine. The place has gathered a bit of a reputation, with nasty rumors afloat. Sex trafficking, murders, child abuse, kidnappings. Even UFOs and monsters have been associated with it. So obviously, the tourists are not feeling this destination as they once did. Tourism is on a major decline here, but somehow the town is still doing fine. Now, while some of those rumors about Silent Hill are merely gossip, others stem from truth. Silent Hill is home to a vile cult that's desperately trying to reincarnate their god. It also has two supernatural worlds that exist within it. They are both dangerous alternate realities that transport a person into a nightmarish dimension. These are called the Fog World and the Other World. Okay, this is where things begin to get really, really creepy. Let us get into these worlds and see what they're all about. Fog World. The thick fog that envelops Silent Hill is not a normal weather phenomenon. It, in fact, acts as an ever-present doorway into Fog World. Fog World is a dreamlike alternate reality within Silent Hill where a character isn't bound by the practicalities of the natural world. If a character's mind feels something is possible, it may manifest in the Fog World. There isn't much in here. No crowds, no people. The feeling one gets from this world is that it's just the character and their thoughts within an obscure cloud. So the people who are in a negative space mentally, such as those rife with guilt or grief, will find themselves more affected within Fog World. It's like being trapped in a bad dream. Even spirits have been known to get trapped in here. Though Fog World is a characteristic of Silent Hill itself, it can also appear in other places. Silent Hill is not the sole location for video games, and Fog World has also been known to manifest in other places. Now, if you think Fog World is bad, wait until you get deeper into this dream reality puzzle and enter the Other World. This alternate world is an extension of the Fog World. While the Fog World pulls a character into a nightmare of sorts, the Other World sinks them into its deepest, darkest lair. This is where Silent Hill absolutely levels up on atmospheric horror. In Silent Hill 2, the players may stumble upon the doctor's journal on the first floor of the Brookhaven Hospital, one of its few functioning buildings. In the journal, the doctor has described the other world. He writes about it while jotting down a diagnosis for a patient he believes is mentally ill. His patient must have described his suffering of being trapped within this nightmare world to the doctor. The doctor notes that everyone in the town has a potential for this sickness. The sickness being getting stuck in the other world. He says there is no wall per se between this world and the other world, and it sits at the abstract seam of reality bleeding into unreality. Many people believe that the other world is a real thing. The poor sods that say they were transported into the other world are not going on about some cuckoo hallucinations, but venting out a real haunting experience. This journal entry shows that people in Silent Hill have a history of being trapped in the other world, but the medical practitioners are not willing to consider anything aside from this being a sick rant, something akin to schizophrenia. The protagonists of Silent Hill, however, know the other world firsthand, and are all too aware that it will eventually consume the reality as the people knew it. The world has even extended its grasp upon the neighboring towns around Silent Hill, like Shepherd's Glen and Ashfield. The other world is molded by a character's psyche, making it a self-made limbo where they are forced to face up with their inner demons. This world is very hard to understand by our scope of things, and the most horrific Silent Hill monsters, like the Pyramid Head and Mannequin, lurk around here. But here's the thing, the other world subsumes a character in a cyclical manner, and the shifts between Fog World and Other World take place quite like REM sleep and non-REM sleep. When a character dips into the other world, their surroundings take a much darker tone, as do the character's thoughts, making the place a terrifying reality to be stuck in. The tragic past of Silent Hill. Long before the name Silent Hill was ever coined, the land near Toluca Lake was called the Place of Silent Spirits. It was a Native American sacred ground where many mystic rituals were performed. These rituals gave the Native American people the power to communicate with the dead. But when the English settlers arrived on the East Coast in the 1600s, the fortunes of the once peaceful Place of Silent Spirits turned to rot. The English took over the area, pushing the natives out. Later, in the 17th century, an epidemic ravaged the place and wiped out most of its population. The town remained bereft of human presence until the Civil War. While the Civil War tore through America, the town was used as a place to incarcerate people. Institutions like the Toluca Prison and the Brookhaven Hospital sprung up. There was also some coal mining done around here, but this riled the Native Americans, who rose to fight against how their sacred land was being used. The town saw a lot of bloodshed, and the peaceful spirits that wafted over it became tainted with it. After the struggle slowly faded and the fighting stopped, the evil that had grown within the land began to show its presence. People began to disappear. After the town was turned into a tourist spot, a sightseeing boat called the Little Baroness mysteriously went missing. And then, of course, there was the Order. A cult formed within Silent Hill took elements from both the Native American rituals and the Christian beliefs brought over by the English. The cult gained quite a bit of power in Silent Hill. They practiced sinister rituals to appease their god, and there was a time when they partook in an especially monstrous experiment. One of the cult members, Dahlia Gillespie, had a daughter named Alessa who had a gift. She was a psychic, and the cult felt that she was just the right candidate to birth their god. The poor girl was forced into a horrific impregnating ritual where she was set on fire. She suffered dreadful injuries through the ordeal, but before she died, she transferred part of her soul into a baby. This is the baby Harry Mason adopted and named Cheryl, the very same Cheryl whose sudden disappearance kicks off the plot of the original Silent Hill. The real Silent Hill. Silent Hill is a chilling story that can spook you out enough to sleep with one eye open for nights on end. But what's even more creepy is that Silent Hill was actually inspired by a real-life town that has now come to be known as the real Silent Hill. This Pennsylvania town has about the same aura as the fictional town and an awful past to go along with it. The town's original name was Centralia. It was a regular old town once with simple folks for inhabitants. But in 1962, a local landfill was set afire to clean up the city waste. But the operation was anything but well thought out. The fire spread through the tunnels that were left uncapped underground and reached the defunct coal mines. The coal mines were set alight. So great was the expanse of the mines that the fire rages on to the present day, which is crazy. The firefighters could do nothing against this sweeping mess, and the town came under grave danger. Centralia was evacuated. A very few sentimental townsfolk stuck on, but most of the buildings were left abandoned. The church is one of the few buildings still in use there. The air in Centralia, or the real Silent Hill, is so toxic because of the fumes from the mine shafts that people are advised not to expose themselves to it for long periods. The fictional town of Silent Hill has pretty much been replicated with the same feel, with people having been evacuated and the population dwindling, bad foggy air, and very few buildings left in use, the church being one of them. Another interesting tidbit about the real Silent Hill town is that all the roads leading up to this town have been fenced shut with barricades. Even the United States Postal Service suspended operations in this zip code more than 2 decades back. That's nuts. I mean, the government is afraid of this burning town and hasn't been able to do anything about it. On an off note, think about the magnitude of the coal reserve that's just burning down there. What a pity. I bet the taxpayers, as well as the environmental warriors, are livid. Or are they? I've never heard a peep about this in the news. Have you? Anyway, Centralia was the town Silent Hill was modeled after, though its past tragedy is very different compared to Silent Hill, and it obviously doesn't have Pyramid Head running around or any of those old cultists. But the tragic aesthetic of the town has been simulated in the Silent Hill franchise. The latest, Silent Hill 2, and the upcoming movie. The Silent Hill 2 remake has already made its way into the PlayStation arena, and everyone and their little brothers seems to be getting into it. The game's reviews have begun doing rounds, and so far, it's been a mixed bag. But if you want to know which monsters made the cut in the remake, we've got a video on it. Be sure to give that a look-see. The new Silent Hill movie we touched on earlier will be titled Return to Silent Hill. Director Christoph Gans will take the reins once again, 18 years after he made the franchise's first film. The first film was about Rose Da Silva, who gets into a car accident and suddenly finds that her daughter, Alessa, has vanished. This leads her into Silent Hill, the town of horrors. This film was a pretty faithful representation of the source, especially when it came to Silent Hill's creature effects. However, one cannot say the same for the next installment, Revelation, which did not capture Silent Hill 3's narrative all that well. Gans stated that he was not on board with Revelation, as he did not see eye to eye with the producer's vision for the film. But he's back now, and although the release date has not been announced, some of the cast has been revealed. Jeremy Irvine from Warhorse and Fallen will play James Sutherland, the protagonist of Silent Hill 2, which is the story the movie is adapting. His dead wife Mary will be played by Hannah Emily Anderson from Jigsaw. The production is said to have wrapped up in July of last year. That was over a year ago, so the first cut is probably ready, but we don't really know what's happening with that. The film is most likely in post-production, and we're keeping our fingers crossed for a 2024 release date. Marvelous verdict. Silent Hill is a town loaded with unexplained phenomena that we've attempted to explain in this video. The fog that blurs the lines between reality and nightmare is such a riveting concept that it still captures people's imagination, which is evident with its ever-expanding franchise. If you're younger, the old gameplay might feel a bit dated, but with the remastered Silent Hill 2 out, we want to hear what you really think, so drop your thoughts in the comments. This video is more about the overall vibe and atmosphere of the series though. A lot of its success comes down to the haunting, mysterious setting of the town itself. If Christoph Gans stays true to the story in Return to Silent Hill, I think we're all in for a seriously intense movie. That's it from us guys. If you liked this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Take it easy now. Ciao.